Hello everyone, please show me a thumbs up if you're able to hear me. Please let me know if I'm audible. Hello everyone, please show me a thumbs up if you're able to hear me. We'll just wait for another 5 minutes and then we'll start. Apologies for delay. Uh, let's just begin again, right? If you're able to hear me, just show me a thumbs up in the chat. And once you show me a thumbs up, I'll begin. All right, guys, I hope my screen is visible. So what are we going to do is we are going to start with Excel 5-day training for freshers and students. We have already started or completed 4 of the days of training, in which what we had completed is this was the 5 days. On the first day, we just talked about Excel interface navigation and worksheets versus workbook, data entry basics, formatting cells, saving, naming, and shortcut students must know, simple calculation. And we also talked about use case, making a class timetable and expenses sheet. On the second day or the second webinar, we worked on cells referencing, where we talked about relative, absolute, mixed, which was $1 and dollar not present in the other one. So then we also talked about the essential functions like sum, average, minimum, maximum, count, count A. We also talked about if, and, or not. We talked about the text functions. We talked about the data function. We talked about the error handling. And we also create a student mark sheet with the pass and fail logic. On webinar 3, which was last Saturday, we completed objective like show how to clean and organize student college data, sorting and filtering, conditional formatting, highlighting top scorer, late fees, attendance less than 75, data validation, from drop down for question yes and no, male and female, table and structured references, remove, duplicate, find, and replace. And we also talked about the attendance register with automated highlighters, right? So that was the thing that we completed till the last. So I'll just show you the file that we had created in the last webinar. That was created in the first webinar. That was created in the second webinar that we were talking about. So this was the dashboard that we created in the second one. And I'm just trying to find the fourth one as well. Give me a minute. That was what we created in the last class. So we completed these ones in the last 3 sessions. Now we are going to create another dashboard with the data that I've shared with you, which is named as placement data, which is having this data in it. So what are we going to cover today? What are we going to cover today is this part, which is here, where I want to make you confident in presenting data visually. So we'll be talking about creating chart, column, pie, bar. We'll be talking about recommended charts. We'll be talking about formatting charts, legends, title, data labels. We'll be also talking about the pivot table and pivot charts. I've been consistently giving you information about the pivot tables and pivot charts, and that is important thing because this is used a lot. Then we are talking about the slicer for interactivity. We have done that in the last session or last webinar as well. We'll be doing the same in this one as well. So what are we going to do now is use placement statistical dashboard department wise, and I'll I'll give you some time, like 5 minutes, to download this Excel. If you have done, that's good. But give me like 2 minutes, and I'll be right back with you. Yep. Sorry again. We'll start now. What are we going to do is we are going to use this Excel, and what are we going to do is we are going to work on the very first thing that we have to do is we have to change it to table. So for changing to table, what I'll do is I'll do a control A where it selects everything. Then I can go here to format as a table, and I can select the design, right? Or the shortcut key for this is I can do a control T, just click on outside control T, and it will give me a information that what do you want to do? Do you want to create a table? And I say yes. And my table has the header on top of it. So I will say that my table has the header. I'll make sure that this is checked and I'll click on OK, and this will change into a table. The benefit of having it as a table is I can do various things there. I can sort them. I can select them. I can filter them. That's what we have to do. The very first thing. The second thing that we have to do is let's start creating the charts, right? So give me a minute and we'll start. So the very first thing that we'll be talking about is how to create a chart, right? So when you want to create a chart, the thing that you would be able to see here is that you can go into the insert, and then you have various number of charts here. This section is all filled with the chart. You can click on this arrow, which is recommended chart, and you will see. So it is saying to create a chart, select the cell that contains the data and use it. So for that, what we can do is we can go here and it gives us table one. If you don't like the name of the table, you want to change the name of the table, we have already seen we can go into the table design, and here what we can do is we can change the name of the table to placement data. So yeah, the conflict is you cannot have a space between it. So what I'm going to do is I'll name it as TBL placement, and this is where my table is ready. And if I go into this drop down list of the address bar, once I select this, I'll come back to the table that I've created. So now if I go to insert and then I go to this section, it gives me various kind of charts. So all charts. So here you can select what kind of chart you want to use. And here is the recommended charts. This is all giving you the recommended charts that it gives you finding out that which of the charts can be helpful for you. But if you see here, what it is doing is the recommendation is that it is going through the departments, and department wise it is giving you the um, the sum of year by department. But sum of year is something that I don't think we'll require, because sum of year is something which is not important for me. I want might be I require that people who are there, um, who are already being placed or not placed, I want to do show that. So let's see. If you want to create this chart, right, I go to the next one. It is showing me the number of count of student names by department, and it is showing me the package by LPA. This can be one thing which is important, but let's go to the first one, click on OK, and then try to change the data. So what I would do is I'll go to in this particular thing, I don't want the year. What I want is the status, right, whether placed or not. And then this is, I'll just go into this part here, and that's the count. So it will tell you the count of the status, right? So so this is showing the department and the count of the status for each of the students. But there is one catch here. I want the count of the status, right, which are placed. So what I'm going to do is I'll take the status and put it in the filter. And then in the filter, what I want I can do is placed and click on OK. So now you will see the status of all the candidates who are placed from each department, right? Now it is showing us the sum of the year by department. I want to change this, right? So let's see what I can do from here. It's not showing me the legend. I can show the legend. I don't want to show the chart table. I can deselect it or selected, it will show me the chart. And then what I can do is more options. If I click on more options, I come here, I go to the text option, what text fill I want to do, what is the, where do I want to place the text, on top, on bottom, right? So that is where the text box I can place, right? Vertical, horizontal, I'm saying bottom. If I say top, it it should go to the top, vertical top. That's inside the box. If you're not able to see it, it's because you're seeing it inside the box. If I go to the title option, I go here. This is where I can select that where I want it. I want it at the bottom, middle, right? It's not changing at the moment, but this is working. So I'll get back to you and let's just check how I can move it. I can just drag it on the top as well if required. If I want to change the text of it, I can show the text like hash of students. So this will give me the number of students and this is department. I want to show the data label as well. So I can go into the data label, check that and click on more options. Where I want to show the option, it is on the top, right? I can show it at the bottom if required. I can change the direction of the text. This is all alignment inside the box. If I want to change the box, I can bring it here and it can show there as well. Now this is where I can change the label position. If I want it in center, it will come at center, right? I'll just do a control Z so it goes back. I go to data label, I go here, and this is where I can go to the label option. I want inside, so it goes inside, inside base, outside end, right? Or might be center. So if I want to put it in center, I would like to change it color. So I want it to fill with solid color, which is not blue, but white, right? And if you see here, it shows me the number, but it doesn't look good at the moment. I'll again go into the data label and go to more options. What I'm going to do is I don't want it to be solidly filled, but I want the color to change so I can see about the text color, right? So text option, text fill, and I will change it to white. And you will see that it is showing you the text in white and it is showing in the center. So this is how you can change the title. You can change the color. If you want, you can change the color of these bars as well. So you need to go into the bucket where it is saying automatic. I say no, I want to fill it with a different color and I want to fill it with something like dark blue, or might be, that was the original one, dark orange, or whatever color I want. So these are the different options that I can select from. And that is how I have inserted the first chart. Now let's just talk about the second option where we are talking about a line chart where we want to see the trend, right? So again, I can just move this chart here and in the same page, what I'll do is I will insert another chart, which is the line chart. So here is the line chart. I want to select the data for the line chart. So what I'm going to do is I'll click on this and then go to data table. So here I can select the data, right? So let's just click on this, or in fact do a right click on this and select data. So in the select data, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into sheet 1 and select the table. Yeah, I thought it gave me the table. So I don't want the header or anything there. I just require the total table. Let's see if this works, and I'll click on OK. So it is getting me the whole data table, but I don't want to really get the whole data. So I'll do a Control C or go back to the select data, and I will say edit. And here I don't want the entire value. What I require is I require the year. So I'll just select the year part from here and click on OK. And in the series, I'll click on edit again, go back to the page sheet 1, and I'm talking about the student. So this is the series and those are the values. So I basically still don't require the sheet of all of them. I just require the trend overline. Hmm. All right, let's just try to do it the other way around again. Right, let's go to sheet 1. Let's select that table. So we have that table. I'll go to insert and I'll say insert line chart, right? And it's giving me the line chart like this. I don't want it like this one, so I will go here and select the data table. I'll edit it. In the x-axis I require the year, and here in the series I just require the placement or not placement, and I'll click on OK. I'll remove this. The problem that I'm facing here is that I'm not getting the count of it. So what I'm going to do is I'll go and delete this again, and we'll start with the same thing. I'll go into the insert. I'll say pivot table again, and that pivot table will go into the sheet 1 somewhere here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click OK. So what I require, I don't require the table, but I require the pivot chart here. So what kind of chart do I require? I'll require a line chart, and I'll click on OK. And this line chart, what it will do is, in the line chart, what I require is the year. So that goes into the x's. Then I require the statuses in the value, right? And the filter. And in the filter, I just require the placed one and click on OK. So now you see that how the status or the count of the total placed according to the years. So here what I can do is I can put in a chart, right? And in the chart what I want to show is the data labels. So here I want to add the data labels. So it will be giving me the data labels there. Let's just try to place these data tables if we can, right? So here, if we go to the label options, we want it on the center or above. Let's just put it above so that it appears nicely there. So it was 107, 109, 99, and 93. That's how the placement has gone down per year. So that was the second chart that we were creating. Then let's go to the third chart that we have to create, right? Um, Before I take you there, right? We also talked about the slicers in the last class, right? So let me just first see if there is a table which appears here as well, right? So that table is related to the year-wise data, and this is the table. If I go to this pivot table again, if I remove the status, go to the next one as well and remove the status, what I can do is, like the way if I select this pivot, I go into this analysis, and then what I can do is I can say insert slicer, and I require it for the status, and click on OK, and that is which I can place here. So if I click on the placed, you see that the value is changing for only one of the tables. It's not changing for the other table. So what we have to do is I'll do a right click on this, go to the slicer settings. In fact, not to the slicer setting, I'll go to the report connection, and in the report connection I'll check the other pivot table as well and click on OK. So now if you try to change this, you will see that the values are getting filtered. So not placed people are going high and the placed one are going down. So that's how you can see the chart. Now let's just try to work on the pie chart as well. So in the pie chart, what we want to do is we want to find the total percentage of the placement versus not placed, right? So what we are going to do is go back to sheet one. You've already selected it. You say insert, and in the insert you say you want to insert the table or you want to insert the pivot table. So we'll do that. We'll go to the existing worksheet and go here, go to this place where we want to add it, and then click on OK. So this will give you the pivot table. So the first thing is we'll talk about the placement versus non-placement. So what I'm going to do is I want the status in the column, right? And then I require the status in the value. And let's go to the field setting and see if we can do something about their row. Show as values as, no calculation on the values, percentage of the total column. But this is giving me 100%. I want to find out whether they are placed or not, right? So let's try to put it in the rows as well. So in the rows you find, the moment I put it in the rows, you found that it is showing you the status as placed and not placed, and it is showing you the percentage of placed and not placed. So here what I'm going to do is, again, selecting this, we are going to insert a chart. So pivot chart, and in the pivot chart we require a pie chart this time, and click on OK, and it is showing us the pie chart where it is showing us how many people have been their status according to this, and then we can add the data label. And the data label, let's go to the more option where we want to place the label. We want to place it outside the end, and it will show you the total percentage. So this is the pie chart. Again, I'll go here, right click, do a report connection, and I want this to be affecting this as well. So if I select placement, it shows me all the placed. But do you think it's a good idea to do that? I don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the report connection, and I'm going to remove the 17th pivot table that we have added. Let's see. Hmm. I think I did some error because first I need to bring it back and then remove all the things that I've selected. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the report connection and remove the 17th table from there. Now, if I select one value, you will not be able to see. However, earlier, which was a plus point, you saw that when I was selecting any values, right, what it was doing was, um, when I selected any value, and after that, what I've done is I have removed the status slicer. The control remained with the previous selection. So in order to do this, this is a good thing that we can control it. But uh, I think that's a good thing that it gives you that part where you can select it once and then it remains the same. Let's just try to do one more thing. What if I do the same thing? I go and do a report connection and select all the three tables, and then I go with the placement, placed ones, and remove the not placed ones, and remove the connection for the 17th one. So you still see that it is showing you 100% because it's talking about the status of filter. So I can go here and I can say not placed and click on OK. So now it is not based on this selection, it is based on the selection that you have inside the control. I'll just drag it on the top so that I hide that table as well. So I have got three tables, three charts which are working. Let's just talk about one more, which is the horizontal bar. So let's just try to bring it closer. So this is where we are talking about year-wise placement. Here we are talking about percentage of placed versus not placed. So that is what we are doing. We'll go with one more chart, which is talking about the horizontal bar, top 5 companies hiring students. So let's go back to sheet one, go to insert. Let's just try to insert another pivot table, existing worksheet, go here, select where you want to place it. I want to place it here and click on OK. So this is where the pivot comes in. Now what we are talking about the companies, right? So we require the rows as the companies and the student names. So that is the count of the student names. But I want to put a filter as well, status, which is here. And in the status, what are we going to do is we are going to mention placed or not placed. So let's just see where I can change the value of the filter. Or let's just try to put it in the rows again. And then, no, let the, hmm, that's fine. And then what we can do is, in order to find only the placed ones in that organization. So Accenture is, let's see, total number of teams that we have is 800, and we are counting the number of the students, which is not correct. So I'm going to remove this and I'll put the company here as well in the values. So that will give me the count of the values, and blanks, it's not giving me any values for the blank, right? So these are all the companies that we have. But here we need to filter, right? So let's go to the filter again and say company. So it should be giving us a filter, but no, we'll keep the company here where it is giving us the company. And then let's try to get the top 5. from here. I'll take a pause while you work on the things there and give me like a minute and I will find out. And let's just try to sort this. So this is what we have done. Once we have the table, what we do is go here and go to more sort option. And here we say descending on the count of company. And the second thing what we are doing is we are saying value, filter, top 10, and I can write on 5 and click on OK. So that gives the value to us. Now let's just try to create the column chart from it. So let's go to the pivot chart and let's try to create the horizontal bar chart. So these are column charts, these are bar charts, and let's just try to create the chart. Similarly, I want this chart to be showing the data labels. And then I want it to be sorted as well, right? So let's go to data label chart title access and then go to more options. And here I think we should get an option to sort. So access option, tick labels, numbers. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the values. If we go here, we need to sort this, right? At the moment it is sort in one order. We want to sort it in the descending order. So sort direction, categories, smallest to largest. If I do that, it's fine, right? So now how I can do is I can do a right click on this and then I go to pivot chart options, display. Now I can select on this, do a right click, and then I click on the data series. Oh, where did I do that? Change the data type, select type, data source. That's the first, more options, smallest to largest, sort direction, category, sort direction, and I click sort company by count of in the descending order, sort company by count in the ascending order. So we want the one in the descending order. Isn't it working the just opposite way? Or is it me who's just trying to see? So sort company by count of company in the descending order. Hmm. All right, we'll work on that. Value type. Here also I think we got the sort direction, more sort options, and we are saying descending count of company. Now I got it. So if I go here, there are two options to do the sorting of it. So if I go to the sort option here, more options. So it is going from, if I go to smallest and click on OK, that becomes fine. If I go from here's more sort options, ascending count of company. All right, I think then I'm interpreting it wrong. It is starting from the baseline and then going on the top. So that's the reason it is ascending on the count of the company. So this is the other chart that we wanted to create, right? The other thing that we were talking about is if I go to the insert, and in the insert, if I go to recommended charts, you can see the recommended charts that we have for the selected values, right? That's what it is showing us. So according to the data that you have selected, it will be giving you some examples. If you want the average package offered by department, Excel might suggest clustered column or box and whiskers. Formatting chart, we have already seen how to show data tables, apply chart and theme color for professional look. So if I go here, I can select the trend line if I want. I was also thinking about the design. So it gives you various designs. If you want to make it more professional, you can select the design that you like. So various designs and themes which are available there. You want to change the color, you can select any of those, make it better as you like it, right? So if I go to the pie chart as well, I can go in here and select the one that I might like, right? We have already talked about the pivot filters, where we have talked about the putting the all the charts based on the pivot, and then we have hidden the pivot tables, and that's where the pivot tables are very powerful to do it. Slicers we have talked about. Now let's just try to do one more thing. What I'm going to do is, because I've not left the space, I'll just click on insert and insert so that it becomes bigger. And then here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say insert a big box, text box, right? So I'll just click outside. This is the text box that it has created. I'll just reduce the size of it, the height of it, increase the width, then take it to the right. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down edit text. This is what we did here the last time as well. And here we'll give it an interactive name. So we'll name it as placement statistic dashboard department wise. So I've given the name. What I want it is it should be center aligned. So here I can go into the text settings, text option. So where do I want to align it? It is on top, so I'll put it in middle. I want it in center. If I go into the home, I want it in center. I want to increase the size of it to, yeah, 40 looks good. So that is what I have done. The other thing that I usually do is insert a picture from this device, and then I go into the demo and I bring in my own logo, reduce the size of it, and put it here. And then move this a bit on the left, right side, and try to match the borders so that they fall in the straight line, and then increase the width of it. So this is how we can make a professional dashboard, right? And we can share it with anyone. The moment they keep on updating the sheets, this will keep on working. But what I can do is I can do a right click on this and click on hide to hide the sheet. So this was the complete thing that I wanted to show you. If you have any questions, please leave the comments or questions in the chat, and I'll wait for your questions. Last time I did not save it, so I'm going to save this time. I think it's been saved, and yeah, you can see how the things are changing. The only problem that I have is I'm using different themes in all the charts, so let's just try to go to the design and select the same designs which we have for each one of them. So this is how I have placed it there. Shape format. If you want it in a different format, something like this might be this one. Similarly, if I go to the image format picture, I just keep it like the same that it is. So this is where we are seeing everything that we wanted to show. All right, that's all, folks. Thanks and good day. Bye bye.